You know what's crazy? There are people out there who did everything right, saved money, avoided debt, stayed disciplined their whole life, and yet somehow still ended up broke when it mattered most. Yeah, this is one of those stories. Meet Robert Hayes, 68 years old, retired engineer from Ohio. Worked hard for 40 years, saved religiously, lived modestly. And when he finally retired, thinking life would get easier, reality hit him hard. Within just a few years, his savings were almost gone. His dream of a peaceful retirement turned into financial stress all over again. So what happened? And more importantly, how can you make sure this doesn't happen to you? Let's dive in, because Robert's story might sound a lot like your future unless you learn from it.
Robert grew up in the 50s when people believed the golden rule was simple: work hard, save money, retire comfortably. And he followed that rule like gospel. He started saving 10% from his first paycheck, then 15%, then 20%. He didn't chase fancy cars or new gadgets. He bought a small home in his 30s, paid off his mortgage by his 50s, and told his friends proudly, "When I retire, I'll finally relax. I've earned it." And honestly, who could argue with that? By 63, he'd built up around $450,000 in his 401k, plus another $70,000 in savings. Not rich, but, comfortable. His plan sounded solid. Withdraw 4% a year, that's about $18,000, add Social Security, and he'd be fine. Except the world doesn't always play fair.
When Robert retired in 2019, things looked good. Low inflation, strong market, the future seemed steady. Then 2020 hit. Boom. The pandemic, market crash, supply chain mess, and then came the real killer: inflation. Suddenly everything, groceries, gas, healthcare, it all shot up. That $18,000 annual withdrawal didn't stretch like it used to. And here's what most people forget: we're living longer now. Robert thought he'd live till about 72, like his dad. But now, with better healthcare, he could easily reach 85 or 90. So his money wasn't supposed to last 10 years, it needed to last 25. That tiny detail, it's the difference between financial comfort and collapse. Now, here's where it really hurts. Robert wasn't reckless. In fact, he was too careful. After the 2008 crash, he lost faith in the stock market. So he moved most of his savings into bonds and cash, safe investments. But safe doesn't mean smart. Because when inflation's running at 8% and your bonds earn 3%, you're actually losing 5% of your buying power every year. It's like your savings are melting, slowly, quietly, right in front of you. By 2023, Robert's $450,000 had fallen to around $300,000 in real value. Not from bad spending, just from time and inflation teaming up against him. He didn't lose it gambling or on luxury cars. He lost it by playing it too safe. Now let's talk about the real villain here: the cost of living. In the US, the average retired couple spends around $4,300 a month. That's over $50,000 a year. Healthcare alone eats up around $8,000 to $10,000 annually. Add property taxes, food, insurance, helping adult kids. Boom, your retirement cushion is gone. Robert's Social Security check? Around $2,000 a month. His retirement withdrawals added another $1,500. Total income, about $3,500. Monthly expenses? Over $4,000. You don't need a finance degree to see that doesn't add up. When the math doesn't work, the stress begins. Here's the thing. Retirement isn't just a financial event. It's a psychological one. When Robert retired, he thought his work was done, in every sense. He stopped learning about money, stopped adjusting, stopped adapting. He'd say, "I worked 40 years. I deserve to rest." And he did deserve it, absolutely. But here's the problem. Money doesn't rest. The world keeps moving.
prices keep rising. And if your money isn't growing, it's shrinking. That's the brutal truth.
Now let's zoom out. Robert's story isn't unique. It's becoming the norm. A recent Bankrate survey found nearly half of Americans have less than $100,000 saved for retirement. And according to Fidelity, to retire comfortably, you need about 10 times your annual income saved by age 67. So if you make $70,000 a year, that's around $700,000 just to maintain your lifestyle. And even that might barely cover it in 20 years. The truth is, saving isn't enough anymore. We live in an economy where inflation is a stealth tax, medical costs are rising, and retirement could last 3 decades. If your money's not earning, it's evaporating. So, yeah, you need a new playbook, not just save and hope.
All right, let's break down what we can all learn from Robert's experience. Lesson 1. Investing beats saving. You can't outsave inflation. Even in your 50s or 60s, keep some exposure to growth. Stocks, ETFs, dividend funds, something that beats the cost of living. Lesson 2. Health is wealth. Medical bills can crush even a great plan. So invest in your health, insurance, checkups, and staying active. It's not just physical, it's financial protection. Lesson 3. Keep learning even after retirement. Don't retire your brain. Stay curious about tax planning, investment options, and new income opportunities. Lesson 4. Multiple income streams matter. Don't rely on one source. Rental income, consulting, online teaching, anything that keeps some cash flowing. Lesson 5. Redefine wealth. Wealth isn't how much you saved, it's how long your money can work for you after you stop working.
Now here's the bright side. Robert didn't give up. He took his old engineering skills and started doing part-time consulting online. It brought in about $1,200 a month. He also attended community finance classes, learned about dividend ETFs, and started reinvesting intelligently. Slowly, things improved. He didn't become a millionaire, but he regained control. And that's what really matters, control. Your story doesn't have to end like Robert's early chapter. You can write a better one with smarter planning, diversified income, and financial awareness. Because the truth is, the world has changed, but retirement planning, it hasn't kept up. And that's what's bankrupting people who think they did everything right.
So, if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, start early. Don't just save, invest smart. Don't just plan for retirement, plan for longevity. And don't just dream of financial freedom, build it. Because the real tragedy isn't running out of money. It's running out of time when you thought you were safe.
If this story made you think, hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you're doing differently for your retirement after hearing Robert's story? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to Finance with Imran, where we turn real-life money stories into simple lessons that help you build a future that actually lasts. All right, until next time, stay smart, stay prepared, and keep making your calculations simple.